Rico. I said, Gucci, you just have to accept that you're not well and fix it. Just accept it.
When I had an episode in like 2019 or 2020, around COVID, like after that I was like, man, I gotta really just hold myself accountable and take care of my health.
Gucci Mane is in a very bad condition. He built trap music from the ground up, then watched it almost destroy him. Prison, shootings, schizophrenia, dead friends, and artists dying under his label one after another. This is the tragic fate of Gucci Mane and how close he came to losing everything. Blood on the Concrete. In 2005, Gucci Mane was finally starting to see money. The song Icy with Jeezy was moving, and for the first time, people outside Atlanta knew his name. But that same year, everything almost ended before it really began. A group of men ran up on Gucci at his home. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong or some random act of violence. These were affiliates of Jeezy's CTE label, and they came with a purpose. What happened next would define the rest of Gucci's life and start a beef that would last for years. Gucci shot and killed one of the intruders. His name was Henry Lee Clark III, but the streets knew him as Pookie Lock. The charges got dropped because it was ruled self-defense, but the damage was done. Gucci had just taken a life, and now he had an entire camp of people who wanted him gone. This wasn't some fabricated rap beef where guys trade diss tracks and then show up at the same awards show. This was real. Diss tracks came, sure, but so did real-world consequences that followed Gucci everywhere he went. But here's the thing about Gucci Mane that people don't talk about enough. Before the shooting, before the beef, before any of the fame, he was already in the system. Back in April 2001, when he was just 21 years old, Gucci got arrested on cocaine charges. He did 90 days in jail, and that set a pattern that would repeat itself over and over and over again for the next decade and a half. The streets raised him, and the streets kept pulling him back. After the Pookie Lock situation, you would think Gucci might lay low, maybe move different, maybe stay out of trouble. But that's not how his story goes. Between 2005 and 2006, he caught assault charges for hitting a promoter with a pool cue and then attacking a fan with a bottle. He served 6 months just for violating his probation. 6 months turned into more time. More time turned into more charges. By the time 2008 rolled around, Gucci was becoming known as hip-hop's jailbird. He kept catching cases for driving violations, assault, and probation breaches. Short stints in Fulton County Jail became routine. One of the assault charges from this period was wild. He allegedly pushed a woman out of a moving car. That's not a minor incident. That's not something you can explain away. And yet, the music kept coming. The fans kept listening. The streets kept showing love. Between all these jail stints, Gucci was dropping mixtapes like Chicken Talk in 2006, which only solidified his raw, street-oriented style. He was building a sound that would eventually become the blueprint for an entire genre. Trap music was taking shape, and Gucci was one of the architects alongside T.I. and Jeezy. But the legal problems wouldn't stop. They couldn't stop. It was like Gucci was fighting two wars at the same time. One war was for relevance in a music industry that moves fast and forgets faster. The other war was against himself and the choices that kept landing him behind bars. The worst was yet to come. In 2013, Gucci caught a federal firearm possession charge. Felon with a gun. That's serious time. He got sentenced to 39 months and didn't get out until May 2016. That's over 3 years gone. 3 years where the rap game kept moving, without him physically in it. But here's where Gucci's work ethic becomes almost unbelievable. While locked up, he released over 10 albums and mixtapes from behind bars. While doing federal time, most artists can barely put out one project a year with a full team around them, and Gucci was flooding the streets with music from a prison cell. DJ Booth put together a timeline of all his incarcerations, and it's honestly hard to look at. Over a dozen times, over a dozen separate instances where Gucci got sent away, probation violations, assaults, firearm charges. The years just kept adding up. One Reddit user summed it up pretty well when they said Gucci ended up in the slammer for anger issues. And that's true. A lot of his cases came from moments where he lost control, moments where the pressure got to him, moments where something inside him just snapped. At the time, nobody was talking about what was actually wrong. Nobody was asking why Gucci kept doing the same things that hurt him. Nobody was looking at the bigger picture. They just saw a rapper who couldn't stay out of trouble. But there was something else going on. Something that wouldn't come out until years later. Something that explains a lot of the behavior, the outbursts, the erratic decisions, and the pain. The streets didn't know it yet, but Gucci Mane was fighting a battle inside his own mind. The demons inside. The ice cream cone tattoo changed everything. In 2011, right after Gucci got released from a Georgia mental hospital where he'd been sent for a court-ordered psychiatric evaluation, he walked into a tattoo shop and got a 3-scoop ice cream cone inked on his face. Not on his arm, not on his chest, his face. The internet exploded. People made memes. People called him crazy. People laughed. Years later, Gucci would admit that the tattoo was a cry for help during a manic episode. He wasn't trying to be different or start a trend. He was in the middle of a mental health crisis, and nobody around him knew how to stop it. The psychiatric evaluation in 2011 came because Gucci had pleaded mental incompetence to avoid a probation revocation. At the time, it looked like a legal strategy, a way to stay out of jail. But looking back, it's clear that something was genuinely wrong. The system flagged it. The courts flagged it. But once he was released, nothing changed. The Twitter rants were constant during this period. Wild accusations, bizarre statements, attacks on people who had been his friends. People in the industry would watch these meltdowns in real time, and most of them just assumed Gucci was on drugs or seeking attention. Nobody connected the dots. The addiction was real though. That part of the story is true. Gucci was using heavily during these years, and the substances were making everything worse. But the addiction wasn't the root cause. It was a symptom. It was Gucci's way of trying to manage something he didn't even know he had. In his 2025 memoir, Episodes: The Diary of a Madman, Gucci finally revealed the full truth. He has bipolar disorder and paranoid schizophrenia, two separate diagnoses, two different conditions that were feeding off each other and being amplified by years of substance abuse. The manic highs of bipolar disorder mixed with the paranoid delusions of schizophrenia created a version of Gucci that even he couldn't control.
I don't never want to have an episode again. I'm gonna see a therapist. I just didn't never want to have that happen again. And then my wife was pregnant. I don't want to raise a family and then my mental health gone with it.
His wife, Keshia Kaware, has been open about what those episodes looked like from the inside. The things he would say during an episode were so bad that she had to physically remove herself from the situation. She wouldn't engage with him when he was in that state. She'd tell him straight up that she wasn't going to sit there and watch him be crazy alone.
If I have an episode I can't come back from, it's like starting to do the work and start seeking the help.
I mean, the things he would say are really, really bad. And I just have to take a deep breath. Like I said, I'm not talking to you right now. You want to sit here and be crazy alone? I'm not going to allow you to be crazy alone.
But there was one moment that shows just how serious this got. During one of Gucci's episodes, Keshia couldn't get him to go to the hospital voluntarily. He was too far gone to listen to reason. So she did something that sounds extreme, but was probably the only option she had left. She called his attorney, called some bodyguards, and planned what she described as a kidnapping.
At one point, I called his attorney, I called some bodyguards, and I just planned a whole kidnap, and we kidnapped him and took him to the hospital because we could not get him to the hospital.
They literally kidnapped him and took him to the hospital for a potential 5150 hold, which is an involuntary psychiatric commitment. This is the same type of hold that Britney Spears was put under during her conservatorship. This wasn't some minor intervention. This was Gucci's inner circle recognizing that he was a danger to himself and possibly others. During these manic episodes, Gucci would give away things compulsively: money, jewelry, expensive items that he'd spent significant money on. He'd hand over chains to friends like it was nothing, and later he'd realize those same friends knew something was wrong with him, but took the gifts anyway.
But you know how much it costs for jewelry? I would give my friends jewelry, and they know I went well, they'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Damn. They take advantage of you.
I felt like, damn, they know something's going on with me, but they'll take it. So it's when I got out of jail, I cut off all my friends, my old friends. I'm like, damn, they were taking advantage.
After getting out of his federal sentence in 2016, Gucci cut off his old circle completely. The friends who had been around during the episodes, the ones who watched him spiral and did nothing, the ones who took the jewelry and the money knowing he wasn't in his right mind, they were all gone. Gucci started seeing a therapist regularly after an episode around 2019 or 2020 during COVID. That was the turning point where he decided he couldn't let this happen again. He didn't want to build a family with Keshia and then lose it all because his mental health fell apart. He didn't want to have an episode that he couldn't come back from. The empathy that came from his own experience runs deep. Gucci mentioned in interviews that when he sees other artists going through public mental health crises, he knows exactly what they're experiencing. He tried to reach out to Kim Kardashian when Kanye West was having episodes during their marriage, but he couldn't get through to her. He didn't want to seem like a groupie, but he genuinely wanted to help because he knew what Kanye's family was going through.
I apologize to everybody. I apologize to everybody who would accept my call. I apologize to.
When you see artists doing that now, Do you know exactly what they're going through?
I wish I could talk to the people that know them to tell them how to help them.
I tried to reach out to Kim when Kanye was going through an episode. It bothered me so much, but I don't know her, and I didn't want to feel like a groupie.
Keyshia developed a whole system for managing Gucci's episodes. The first thing she does when she notices one coming on is delete the apps from his phone. Instagram goes. Everything goes. She doesn't need the public to know when her husband is having a mental health crisis. She doesn't need the scrutiny that comes from the internet watching someone spiral in real time. And her advice to Gucci was simple but powerful.
I said, Gucci, you just have to accept that you're not well and fix it. Just accept it.
Accept that you're sick. Fix it. That's it. No shame, no judgment, just acknowledgement of reality and a commitment to managing it. Today, Gucci credits therapy, medication, exercise, and sobriety for keeping him stable. He's open about taking his meds daily. He's open about the work it takes to stay healthy. He's sharing his story publicly in hopes that it might help someone else who's going through the same thing. The demons that haunted Gucci Mane for years had names. They were called bipolar disorder and paranoid schizophrenia. And once he finally faced them, everything else started to fall into place. But while Gucci was fighting his internal war, the people around him were facing their own battles, and not everyone made it out alive. The 1017 curse. People have been calling 1017 Records cursed for years now. At first, it sounded like internet nonsense, fans being dramatic, the type of conspiracy talk that always follows tragedy. But then the bodies started piling up, the prison sentences got longer, and the pattern became impossible to ignore. Gucci Mane signed artists to his label because he saw something in them. He saw the hunger he once had. He saw the talent that deserved a platform. He saw young versions of himself who needed guidance. But something kept going wrong. Something kept turning these promising careers into tragedy. Enchanting was 26 years old when she died in June 2024. Her cause of death was an accidental overdose of oxycodone and benzodiazepines. She was one of the brightest talents on 1017, a female rapper in a male-dominated label who was starting to build her own following. Gucci paid tribute to her on X, calling her a true star. Less than 2 years before Enchanting's death, Big Scar passed away in December 2022 at just 22 years old. Another overdose, another young life cut short, another artist who never got to see their full potential realized. The aftermath of Big Scar's death got messy. There were allegations that Gucci reneged on promises to pay for the funeral and asked for his chains back. Whether that's true or not, the optics were terrible. It made Gucci look cold at a moment when people expected him to be grieving alongside the family. The deaths weren't even the only problems. Matt Critter got charged with murder in 2023. Pooh Shiesty got sentenced to over 5 years in 2022 for a federal firearm conspiracy case. Fujiano caught time for cutting off his ankle monitor and running. Hot Boy West got arrested for robbery. Reddit threads were asking if 1017 was cursed or a conspiracy, pointing out that at least 7 artists on the label had faced tragic fates in a relatively short span. That's not normal for any record label. That's not bad luck. That's a pattern that demands explanation. Keisha Kawire stepped in to defend her husband against the backlash in 2024. Her response was blunt. "We can't help grown amen." She was frustrated that people kept blaming Gucci for the choices his artists made as adults. She pointed out that Gucci had been through the same struggles and came out the other side. He couldn't force anyone else to do the same.
And absolutely, he had so many artists from back in the day, and because of this, they re-signed with other people or whatever the situation is, and it pisses me off because none of them respects him. Or give him the credit like Gucci signed me. Gucci's the one that got me out the slum. Gucci's the one that changed my life. None of them talks about that. Not one.
Gucci himself addressed the curse allegations in a 2024 interview. He said watching his artists go through these struggles reminded him of his own past. He understood the path they were on because he had walked it himself, but at the end of the day, he attributed the issues to the choices the artists made. He couldn't live their lives for them. By October 2024, Gucci had apparently had enough. He dropped all but 2 artists from the label via an Instagram reel. The only ones left were Pooh Shiesty and Fujiano, both of whom were still dealing with legal situations. Everyone else was gone. The losses extended beyond just 1017 signees. Gucci has been surrounded by death throughout his career in ways that go past the label. He released a song called Letter to Takeoff about the Migos member who was shot and killed in 2022. Young Dolph, another Atlanta figure, was murdered in 2021. These weren't necessarily Gucci's artists, but they were his peers, his collaborators, his community. In 2025, the hits kept coming. Young Scooter, a longtime Gucci affiliate who had been making music with him for years, died at 39. The cause was a leg injury he sustained while fleeing from police. Another senseless death, another name added to the list. Gucci mentioned in his memoir that the deaths of Big Scar, Enchanting, and Rich Homie Quan were part of what motivated him to share his own mental health story publicly. He hoped that by being open about his struggles, he might help someone else avoid the same fate. He might reach someone who was on the edge and pull them back. The 1017 curse might not be supernatural, but it's real in the sense that it represents a larger problem. Young men from difficult backgrounds get signed to labels, get access to money and fame, but still carry all the trauma and habits from their previous lives. They don't get the support systems they need. They don't get the mental health resources they need. And when things go wrong, they go wrong fast. Gucci survived his own version of this curse. He went through the incarcerations, the mental health crises, the addiction. He came out the other side. But not everyone is that lucky. And watching the people he tried to help fall one by one has to weigh heavy on a man who knows exactly how close he came to the same fate. The tragedy of 1017 isn't just about a cursed record label. It's about a system that chews up young artists and spits them out. It's about the gap between getting a record deal and getting actual support. It's about the fact that signing someone to a label doesn't automatically save them from the streets that made them who they are. And just when people thought they understood Gucci's story, the internet decided to write a new chapter for him, one that wasn't even real. Lies and conspiracy. In January 2026, a rumor started spreading on X that Gucci Mane had been shot 8 times at an Atlanta gas station. The Post claimed he was on life support. They claimed he was fighting for his life. They spread fast because that's what sensational news does on the internet. It was completely false. There were no official reports, no hospital statements, no confirmation from anyone close to Gucci. It was just a viral hoax that gained traction because people on the internet will share anything without checking if it's true. But this wasn't the only wild rumor surrounding Gucci in late 2025 and early 2026. The other one was even stranger. Pooh Shiesty got released from federal prison early in October 2025. He was one of the 2 artists Gucci kept on 1017 after dropping everyone else. The internet immediately started speculating about what would happen next. Would Shiesty stay loyal? Would he try to leave? And then the rumors got crazy. Rumors started circulating that Pooh Shiesty had robbed and kidnapped Gucci at gunpoint in order to get out of his 1017 contract. The story was that Shiesty wanted to leave and join Yo Gotti's CMG label, and apparently the only way to do that was through violence. Whack 100 even got involved, which is never a good sign for the truthfulness of any story. Tasha K started spreading the rumor further. The whole thing became a mess of speculation and drama with very little actual evidence. Gucci's response was subtle. He posted a photo of his jewelry on Instagram with the caption, "We only roll diamond splits." That was it. No lengthy denial. No dramatic statement, just a flex that suggested he still had all his chains and everything was fine.
Roll of the dice.
Yeah.
Shiesty, he home. He still on the label.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Shiesty, I got big plans for Shiesty, man.
Yeah.
That's who I've been waiting on, Shiesty.
In an interview, Gucci made it clear that Shiesty was still on the label and that he had big plans for him. He'd been waiting for Shiesty to come home. He was excited about what they could do together. There was no indication of any beef, any robbery, or any kidnapping.
Yeah.
So, we finna go up through there now. And Pooh finna come out too, and I got big plans for him too. I got to just execute these
Everything
plans.
right on time.
Bro, it's very exciting times now.
Yeah.
I've been waiting on them, I can't lie.
Pooh Shiesty remains on home confinement until April 2026, so the full reunion between him and Gucci hasn't happened yet. But based on everything Gucci has said publicly, there doesn't seem to be any drama between them. The other conspiracy theory that refuses to die is older, but still gets brought up. It's the clone theory. The idea is that the real Gucci Mane was killed in prison and replaced by a clone or body double. People point to his physical transformation as evidence. Before prison, he was heavier. After prison, he was lean and tall. How could that be the same person? The answer, of course, is diet and exercise. Gucci got sober in prison, he worked out, he changed his eating habits. He came out looking like a different person because he literally rebuilt his body. That's not cloning. That's dedication. But the conspiracy theory persists. Posts about it date back to at least 2020, and they resurface every time Gucci does something public. It's become a running joke in some corners of the internet, and a genuine belief in others. What these rumors show is how much attention Gucci Mane still commands. People care enough about him to make up stories. People care enough to debate whether he's even real. For better or worse, he remains one of the most discussed figures in hip-hop, even when the discussion has nothing to do with his actual music. Forum discussions on Reddit continue to debate his influence and legacy. Some users rank him among the most influential rappers ever based on his role in creating trap music. Others acknowledge his importance, but criticize his recent verses as lazy compared to his classic work. The consensus seems to be that his legacy is secure regardless of what he puts out now. His discography is genuinely insane when you look at the numbers. Over 100 projects across his career, including albums, mixtapes, and collaborative projects. Most of those came during periods when he probably shouldn't have been able to make music at all. In jail, in the middle of mental health crises, dealing with legal battles, the work never stopped. That's the paradox of Gucci Mane. His life has been marked by tragedy and hardship at almost every turn, but his output has been relentless. He kept pushing when others would have given up. He kept creating when his circumstances should have made creation impossible. He kept surviving when survival wasn't guaranteed. The rumors and conspiracies are just noise at this point. They don't change what Gucci has already accomplished. They don't erase the impact he's had on an entire genre of music. They're just part of the chaos that has always surrounded his name. And now, after everything, Gucci is trying to use that chaos for something good. The redemption. As of January 2026, Gucci Mane is touring again. He played Brooklyn Bowl in October 2025. He's promoting his memoir, Episodes, The Diary of a Madman, which came out in October 2025. He's still making music. He's still showing up. The memoir is significant because it's not just another rapper autobiography. It's specifically focused on his mental health journey, the vulnerabilities, the episodes, the diagnoses, the treatment. Gucci is putting all of it on paper for anyone who wants to understand what he went through. He's been open about why he's sharing this story now. He lost artists. He lost friends. He watched people go through the same struggles he went through and not make it out. Big Scar, Enchanting, Rich Homie Quan. The list of people Gucci cared about who died from overdoses or other tragic circumstances keeps growing. He hopes that by being honest about his own experiences, he might reach someone who's on the same path and convince them to get help. The transformation Gucci has undergone since his 2016 release is remarkable by any measure. He went from being known as hip-hop's jailbird to being a sober, health-focused mogul. His net worth is estimated at somewhere between $14 and $20 million, depending on which you believe. He's married, he has a family, he takes his medication every day. That last part sounds simple, but it's the hardest thing for a lot of people with mental health conditions. Staying on medication when you feel fine. Maintaining the routines that keep you stable, even when life gets chaotic. Gucci does it, because he knows what happens when he doesn't. He's been to the edge and back multiple times. He doesn't want to go there again. The relationship with Keyshia Ka'oir has been central to his recovery. She's been with him through the worst episodes. She's been the one to delete his apps when she sees a crisis coming. She's been the one to organize interventions when he couldn't recognize that he needed help. Their partnership is built on understanding his condition and working together to manage it. Gucci also talks about the importance of cutting off people who enabled his worst behavior. After prison, he let go of the friends who took advantage of him during episodes, the ones who accepted the jewelry gifts knowing something was wrong, the ones who watched him spiral and did nothing. Building a healthy support system meant removing the people who weren't actually supporting him. The music continues, though some critics feel it's not at the same level as his classic work. That's probably true in some ways. The hunger of early Gucci, the desperation that came through in songs like those on Chicken Talk, is hard to replicate when you're living in a mansion and eating right. But Gucci's significance was never just about individual songs. It was about creating a blueprint that an entire generation of artists would follow. Trap music as we know it was built on the foundation Gucci laid alongside T.I. and Jeezy in the mid-2000s. Every artist who uses 808s and talks about the streets owes something to that foundation. The influence is baked into the genre itself at this point, and Gucci is still investing in the next generation, even after all the tragedy that's come from 1017. He talked about having big plans for Pooh Shiesty when he gets off home confinement. He mentioned Fugiano coming home and wanting to work with him too. Despite watching artist after artist fall, he's still willing to put his resources behind young talent. Maybe that's naive. Maybe it's setting himself up for more heartbreak, but it's also consistent with who Gucci has always been. He sees himself in these young artists because he was them. He was the troubled kid from the streets who needed someone to give him a chance. He was the one making bad decisions while trying to make good music. He was the one who nobody thought would survive. He survived anyway, not without scars, not without damage, but he's still here, still working, still trying to help others avoid the mistakes he made. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to watch another fascinating video like this, click on one of the boxes on your screen right now.